Hello, everyone. This is part 3 of Birth Pangs. This record that I found here that I am showing is an occult record from the 60s, and it is the satanic inversion of this biblical verse, Matthew 24:8. But all these things are merely the beginning of birth pangs. All these are the beginning of sorrows. The occult is singing hallelujah in praise for what is about to happen. I found this record down in my basement. I would really recommend watching part 1 and part 2 because I go into a lot of the occult symbolism behind all these little things that you see on the right of the all-seeing eye. With this, I'm going to move forward with what I left off on part 2. All right, I had been dealing with the Bush family and with the royals, and I saw this picture months ago. It's an elongated photo of the Queen, Prince Philip, and both George and Laura Bush. And it was humorous because I didn't see something until just recently. But you can see what he's doing here with his hand. A lot of people have commented about this over the years, these ridiculous hand signs that he makes. He's one of the worst of the bunch. So you see him doing that here. Now, I hadn't noticed this until just a month or two ago, and I noticed that she was doing something too. So I looked in closely, and sure enough, she's making the same hand sign that I showed in the prior 2 videos. Same one that has been used over the centuries by Freemasons. They do the same things to show who they are. Now, just like in this photo, I brought this up in prior videos, when you take a photo or you have a portrait, do you hold your hand up or do you hold it relaxed at your side? The only reason they're holding their hands up here is they're conveying a signal with what they're actually doing, and that's exactly what this is. Most people have no clue because we don't communicate through these kinds of things. We talk or we leave writing. So you don't notice this and you don't notice symbols, and that's how they have navigated the world through many centuries. This is kept secret. Now, we have Chris Brown here. He's at his own birthday party, and they're celebrating by giving him an Illuminati cake. And you've got Reverend Al Sharpton here with the famous singer. I forget what her name is. She's got a great voice, but they're all a part of this club. This is not a Christian man whatsoever. He is Luciferian. Now, I saw this. This man is Luciferian as you can get. And here he is with Mr. Buffett. And again, we're going to connect symbols because I saw this and I had to laugh. This is a book of Warren Buffett's, his management secrets, proven tools for personal and business success. What do you got going on here? It's the same things again and again and again. You got the all-seeing eye in a triangle. So you got him eating his cake. Now, this is interesting. Have you noticed there's more satanic imagery appearing in entertainment than ever before? Most people don't have a clue what any of this stuff means, the alpha, the omega. This stuff is from Chi-Rho. This is what a lot of people call the Paschal Cross. It goes back before Constantine, centuries back. The Chi-Rho is known in other religions. It is satanic. Usually at the base of the P, where you see the P and the X, there's a serpent. But we're going to look at some of the other symbols here. So you've got all the stuff you see on her dress. You've got the inverted star. So we've got the sigil of Baphomet. That's the goat of Mendes. Okay, what do we got going there? We've got the Maltese cross. Now remember Sammy Davis Jr. said he was Jewish? Not so much. Okay, Satanist daughter. Of course, I've shown this in previous videos. This is Anton LaVey. That's the goat of Mendes, satanic. This is his daughter. It's a wax museum. He's putting up the satanic devil's horn hand sign that goes back centuries. I've shown that in the other videos as well. You've got him here making that famous hand sign back in the 70s. And there he is with Sammy Davis Jr. Now, Sammy Davis Jr. is doing another occult sign. Most people don't know this. They think it's harmless. And, you know, if it's meant to be harmless, it is. But they're trying to pull people in very slowly with what they do. This is getting more and more apparent by the day. Now, this, again, is the Maltese cross. You will see this on the Queen's crowns. And this has been used for many, many, many centuries. And we've got it sitting here. What do we got? We got 2 Freemasons. And we've got, it looks to me like a bishop. Now we have the Jesuits wearing a huge Maltese cross. And here we've got it, placed upon a knight's hospital crown. Back to her again. And that's the same symbol. It's right there on the emblem. The Assyrian king Shamshi-Adad, 823 to 811 BC. Nothing about that has to do with anything with Christianity, with Ninurta's emblem, the cross hanging on his chest. And we have the same thing on him. So what is this doing on a Christian? The Assyrians were the ones that took the northern tribe of Israel 3,000 years ago, which never returned. I want people to connect dots. This is what I've been trying to show people. What you think you are, if you look like anyone that you see in Israel, it's because you are genetically related to them. This group, don't want you to understand that, though. The two tribes of Israel that will be reunited again in the last days are the tribe of Judah and the tribe of Israel. The tribe of Judah are the Jews that have not accepted Christ. The other 10 tribes have. That's all throughout Europe and all throughout America. And now it's the Gentiles of the rest of the world as well. What you've got going on here, I might be able to bring up in another video. You've got a pine cone here. The pine cone is a sign. It's basically them saying, you'll see this on hieroglyphs throughout the world that go back thousands of years before this. This is a sign of pineal gland possession. These people, this is not a Christian, man. Again, we're connecting all the signs. This gets into something that I may touch on in another video. This gets into the stars. Things that people don't want to accept. We're just going to move on, but this is a key to this. Revelation, I cover all this in my other videos. I did bring this up in a prior one. I've had my site partially disabled by YouTube. They don't like what I have to say. Apparently, a lot of people are having this problem right now. It doesn't have, we have no free right speech in America anymore, and regardless of what you have to say, if they don't agree with the narrative, they like to pull it down. And I am self-identified Jewish. I'm from the tribe of Judah, so I should be able to say what I want to about the people in Israel today. Okay, and now back to the queen and her royal bloodline. Okay, again, what is she wearing up here? Is Queen Elizabeth related to the Prophet Muhammad? Old claims that the British monarch is descended from the Prophet Muhammad have resurfaced. Okay, this is the History Channel. Who's in Elizabeth II's family tree? Various European kings and queens may come to mind, but the Prophet Muhammad may not. This has been circulating around for years. You can see right here. It is little known by the British people that the blood of Muhammad flows in the veins of the Queen. Okay, this is something that, like I said, has been written about. This is not a secret. They've known all this. It's just time that they bring it out. They're trying to pull people into the pit. These people have never been Christian. They know their bloodline, and it's a satanic bloodline. Queen Elizabeth has begun claiming she's a direct descendant of Prophet Muhammad, the founder of Islam, and has instructed BBC News to begin pushing this idea in the Muslim world, according to BBC staff. So here she is with a hijabi princess. Meghan Markle actually has royal ancestors. Yeah, of course she does. And, you know, they're now letting people know they're all about the one world free love, which we've been warned in the book of Revelation would happen. One world religion. And we got him back in the day when he was a teenager making the sign that everyone is doing. Hit with a hook. People, this is a whole bunch of countries that were criticizing the fact that they were doing this all the time because other countries know what this is. This is considered a satanic hand sign. So this is not a Christian family whatsoever, but they paraded themselves off to be. This is, you know, obviously the daughters, they're doing it. This was kind of fun. I saw this, and you know, people were questioning it years and years ago. Why have so many world leaders photographed flashing the horn sign? No way are they all just showing support for the University of Texas. Now, They must have all been there at a game or something. And that's what their excuse is. They say they just do this because they're Longhorns fans. Well, you've got Obama doing it. You've got princes doing it. You got people all around the world doing it. It has absolutely nothing to do with any Texas team or university. But it appears that the entire world is Texas Longhorn fans. He must be one. Now, I've got this. This was from back in the day. Still looking somewhat young there. This is before he became president. The sign of the Master of the Second Veil, this hand sign. Now we got him doing it here. And there as well. Barack Obama, welcome to the, and you see what I wrote here. Okay, this is key. I think I go into this a little bit later in this video. If I don't, it's another one. I get my information a little bit mixed, but this is so loaded right here. Okay, we've got this is part of it right here. You can see what we've got going on here with these signs. If you start looking at this stuff closely, you realize what you're actually looking at. This is witchcraft. Solomon's ring. These people know something that most Christians don't understand. Revelation chapter 13, verse 18. This calls for wisdom. Let the person who has insight calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. That number is 666. 1 Kings 10, verse 14, the weight of the gold that came to Solomon each year. The weight of the gold that Solomon received yearly was 666 talents. Now, if you look at a King James Bible, the language is so antiquated. It's something like six thrice thus, and you look at it, and you would never understand that. You're just looking, frankly, at 666. There is a lot of things about the King James Bible, beyond the fact that it's antiquated language, that I have been able to read and discern that you've got the hands of the royalty all over that book and altering it in ways that was not proper. So I do not use that book. Here is the Seal of Solomon. I want to show you this. This should get your creep factor going real quick here. You've got a snake eating its own tail. At the very base, what do you got going on? It's the familiar symbol that you see again and again. Now, this is Solomon looking at his own reflection in a pool. So you've got the as above, so below paradigm going on here. This makes the Star of David, which is not what people think it is. This goes back much, much further. This is the Star of Rephaim. This, I think it's Rephraim. This goes back thousands of years again. It's something that has just been in Israel for about 400 years. And if you ask the average Israeli where that star came from, they don't know. And I can tell you, it was implanted by a group that is playing that they are Jewish, and they're not. So you've got him looking at himself in a pool, and you can see we've got an intermingling of color here. You've got the dark hands here hitting the lighter. You've got his dark reflection in the pool. This is him merging with hell. Now, again, what do you got going on up here? Obviously, he is much, much older than Christ, because Solomon was around, let's see, I guess it was at least 1,000 years before Christ was born. In fact, I think it was 2,000. So if you're looking at this, you're looking at the wrong thing. That is not Christian, obviously. He would not be wearing that. And amazingly, I didn't even see this myself until just recently. What did we have going on in here? We've got the Maltese cross again. The same thing that Hitler wore, and the same thing that you see the Assyrian god Nisroch wearing. And this is what this stands for. One of these is Babylon, the serpent. The other one is Assyrian. One is America, and the other one is Israel. Okay, we got these two guys that are cousins. Barack Obama often makes jokes in his campaign speeches about a genealogical survey found last year that he is a distant cousin of Dick Cheney. Now there's double bad news for Obama. News survey out shows today that he is related to George Bush as well. Now that obviously has to do with the fact that there is a white mother here from Kansas. I brought this up in my very first video that dealt with Obama. Now, you know, this is right back in the day. Look at the warm affection going on here. This isn't a man that hates this man on any level. He was the one that was taking over his position. And I think we all know there was supposed to be all this animosity. If you remember at the time, all the people that were, you know, on his team were waving, you know, bye-bye as the helicopter was taking off with him, like, get lost, loser. And yet look at how he's looking at them. They're like, excuse me, they're like best friends right here. And of course, I don't see a lot of hatred between these two as well. We've got a picture here. They both just recently are deceased, but she's saying, I am a cousin. And again, same thing. Look at this. I mean, look at this. This is like one cozy family here. They are all related. Barack Obama related to Sarah Palin, Rush Limbaugh, Los Angeles Times. They are all bloodline related people. Every one of these. Ancestry.com connects the dots. Of course, this is all done in independent media. Nobody's noticing what's going on here. Sarah Palin demanding Obama. Okay, now she's demanding his impeachment in an essay. And I write here, and this type of thing is nothing more than kabuki theater. It's like a performance in the WWF, designed to get the masses and each other divided against each other. It gets everybody PO'd, the same way the WWF does. You get fake teams. Look at this. Now, this is a Democrat, dyed-in-the-wool Democrat, and look at how warm she is with these guys. There's no animosity between any of these people. They're all on the same team. Here she is. Look at her hands, both of her hands. They're both doing it. And this guy, I don't even know what this joker's name is. I remember him in the past. They're all Luciferians, every one of these. I'm just going to say this for the record, as I have begun to understand this. I've had one come up to me that claimed he was Christian, and I realized it took me a while, about a month, to discern this person that I engaged was a Freemason. They pretend they're Christian. That's what they do. They do it to poison the pool. Todd Palin is most definitely flashing a Masonic hand sign. As we demonstrate throughout pictures, Todd Palin is clearly he's inserting his hand, doing the Master of the Second Veil sign. Now we've got her. This person here is making a comment that she's a supporter of the Nation of Israel, but there's Freemasons in charge of the government. There sure are. It's a Luciferian government there too, and she is connected with it. She's got on the two flags. This is what this is all about. I showed you the two stars in the Freemason Lodge. You've got these two sitting together. I know who this man is more than anybody. Been around forever and ever. Revelation chapter 2, verse 9. I know your afflictions and your poverty, yet you are rich. I know about the slander of those who say they are Jews and are not, but are a synagogue of Satan. Again, that is not... If this was the nation it's supposed to be, they'd have a menorah. They'd have a 7-armed menorah here. They wouldn't have this. Again, I've shown this in previous videos. You can engage the seal on the back of the United States dollar, $1 bill, by inverting the triangle, and you engage Mason. M-A-S-O-N. And I brought him up. He was a member of Harvard's Skull and Crossbones 322, which is Gematria in the Bible. They're all part of this. In fact, he is mentioned in the Bible by name in the last days. And we've got another one of the Orthodox Jews. I actually cannot remember this particular sect. They were everywhere when I was there. President Barack Obama greets Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Again, they're all related. As Barbara said, we're cousins. Now, I found this online too. Aleister Crowley, 1875 to 1947, who formed many of the philosophies for Satanism, was perhaps the most demonic man that has ever lived, and influences all Satanism today. You got him wearing a shirt of his back in 2012. This kid has no clue what the heck this is. This man was as wicked as they got. Turns out Barbara's side of the family appears to have been keeping a secret. Now this man, again, we've got satanic symbols. We know what that means. I've shown this in a ton of videos. You can see this online. Magic, rock and roll, and the wickedest man in the world. Okay, this is just stuff that you can find online. Barbara Bush, known to be the daughter of the world's most infamous Satanist, Aleister Crowley. There are some diary entries that came out, I guess it was in the last 3-4 years, that indicated her mother was having an affair with Aleister Crowley. And all you have to do is take a look at the profiles of Barbara and Aleister Crowley. I'm the dead ringer stuff here. I mean, everybody always used to make fun of her looking somewhat like a man, Anyway, but she looks like a clone of her father. And he was the wickedest man alive. The man did just horrendous things. One big cozy family. And this picture, I mean, you can just tell these people all detest each other, left and right. He's looking at her with great admiration. And another one where he's making the devil's horn. Curtin reveals President Obama's devil's horn, New York Magazine. This was interesting because I did read the analysis on this. Devil in disguise, Barack Obama's halo drops in Pope Francis photo. Okay, people brought up the fact that this photo, I think I have it here larger. Okay, you can see it looks like horns. And they're right. When you look at old previous press photos, you can see that when this was taken, they did some alteration of the curtains and they had this position, the camera position, in a different way to make sure that this was intersecting in the way that it did. This was not an accident. And it was just done to just kind of tantalize people and get them talking because people won't believe it. Now, if you think all this is getting conspiratorial, let's divert for a moment to something else yet on the dial of this occult record from the 1960s and see how it conforms to current reality. Hitting Birth. This is the one I told you that I found down in my basement. Okay, we've got this. I made it clear in prior videos that this country was formed by Satanists, and these people are into human sacrifice. I've seen a lot more than I'm going to share in this video, but there's one that made the press. Now, I'm showing this fingerprint for a reason with the all-seeing eye. This made the press. The Missouri CHIP, Child Identification Program. Now, this is the Maryland's version of it, and they've got a previous president here. We've got Masonic Child Identification Program. You can look this up on Wikipedia. Huffington Post is bringing this up. Why are the Freemasons collecting our children's DNA? And again, odd picture to have down here. I thought having a picture of Benjamin Franklin on their websites was an interesting choice on the part of the Freemasons. Benjamin Franklin, a serial killer, 1,200 bones discovered. Okay, it says here, curators made a horrifying discovery during a routine renovation at the Founding Fathers' home. Why was Benjamin Franklin's basement filled with skeletons? Smithsonian Magazine. Repairs on Franklin's old London house turned up 1,200 pieces of bone from at least 15 people. For nearly 2 decades, leading up to the signing of the Declaration of Independence, Benjamin Franklin lived in London in a house at 36 Craven Street. So they found 15 bodies down there. This is brought up by another group here. Did America put a serial killer on the $100 bill? I bet you heard nothing about this in the U.S. media. Okay. Now, to this man, he headed the CIA for many years, and if one digs a bit into what this organization really is, the black site torture locations that were turned up by the media that were throughout Europe are only touching on the surface. And this man headed that organization. He is not at all what people believe him to be. This came out many years ago. This was the Washington Post when they still could report on news that wasn't squelched. The media is completely controlled now by this group right here. I won't even say the words. You can see it there. Infiltrated 17 area groups gave out LSD. Now, we've probably already heard this president's famous speech in which he used the term New World Order. Now, this came out in 1990. Out of these troubled times, our fifth objective, a new world order. Now, exactly 11 years before the day of that fateful event. That was not an accident either. That's also a cult. Now, you see these 3 men sitting here. This was the day that this speech was made. Now, I want you to pay attention to him. I remember this guy back in the day. That famous conservative Christian from back in the 1980s, Dan Quayle. Him. He's another Luciferian. They all are. It's a big idea, a new world order. Only the United States has both the moral standing and means to back it up. The Freemasons have been planning this for centuries. Okay, we've got what's called the Eye of Providence on the back of your dollar bill. The Great Seal was first designed in 1782 and has been printed on the back of the United States $1 bill since 1935. The phrase Novus Ordo Seclorum is sometimes mistranslated as the New World Order by people who believe in a conspiracy behind the design. Okay, we always get this to make you go, well, you're just being silly. It's a conspiracy. Okay, you see this. I just pulled this up. This is what, Google chooses to put down. So, conspiracy. I've learned in my day to think for myself. Let's see what the powers that be have to say about this symbol. So we've got it called the Eye of Providence. I looked up what the Eye of Providence is. This is Wikipedia's definition. The Eye of Providence is a symbol having its origin in Christian iconography, showing an eye often surrounded by rays of light or a glory and usually encompassed by a triangle. It represents the eye of God watching over humanity. Utter baloney. This is as far from Christianity as you can get because God led his people out of Egypt. If you choose to believe that Christianity had anything to do with Egyptology, I would recommend opening your Bible and reading what the Bible says regarding Egypt. Egypt was evil, and Yahweh led his people out of Egypt. So let's move past the conspiracy trite and see what the words below the pyramid on the back of your dollar bill really say. Okay, guys, I'm going to go ahead and stop at this point, and I'm going to get on with a part 4.